So Democrats in Congress are either about to win but lose, or lose but win. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I'm talking here about the government shutdown. And I don't see any way for Democrats to have a win-win situation. There's the substance and then there's the politics, and that's what I'm talking about here. Let's take the they may win but lose. Now, when we say win from a substantive point of view, that means that in this government shutdown battle, that Republicans and Trump would cave to Democratic demands and restore the Obamacare subsidies, because that is what Democrats have chosen to make this fight about. If Obamacare subsidies are not restored, then millions of Americans who get their health insurance through the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act exchanges, are going to lose their tax credits. And that will essentially make their health insurance much more expensive, and potentially millions of people are going to lose their health insurance through Obamacare as a result of that. So Democrats have decided to make their stand in this budget fight on restoring those subsidies. Now, if they win on the substance, they will lose politically. They may get a short-term benefit for having stood firm and winning this battle. But in the long term, they're going to lose politically, because what will happen... Look, we are in a fight against fascism in this country. And right now, we need to do everything we can to beat these fascist MAGA Republicans politically, and to turn as many people in this country against Trump and MAGA as possible. And unfortunately, that means, in large part, that the people who voted for this have to feel the pain. They have to experience the consequences of their vote. And the people who didn't even bother to vote at all need to also suffer the consequences for that decision. Now, part of the consequences of voting for Donald Trump is that you voted to gut the Affordable Care Act and to eliminate subsidies. That's part of what you voted for if you voted for this. And if Democrats win on the substance here, then the people who voted for this will once again be saved from the consequences of their own vote. And they will not feel the pain, at least insofar as this one issue. And let's understand something. There are a lot of people, I acknowledge there are a lot of people, obviously, who didn't vote for this, who will suffer as well if those Obamacare subsidies are not restored. But let's also understand that a lot of people who voted for Trump are on the Obamacare subsidies. They're too stupid to understand that, because they will all tell you that they are opposed to Obamacare. And we saw this during the campaign. They said they oppose Obamacare, but they support the Affordable Care Act. They're just too stupid to realize that that's the same thing. And a lot of these people, disproportionately, a lot of the people who are on Obamacare in the exchanges live in red states, disproportionately. So they will be hurt even more than other people if these subsidies are not extended. Now, Democrats could win on the substance of this issue and have those subsidies restored, but then they're going to lose long-term politically, insofar as those people who voted for Trump will not suffer the consequences of having voted for him. And we may very well have a situation where Trump and Republicans are more popular than they otherwise would have been if Democrats didn't save them from the consequences of their vote. Now, the flip side could also be true here. Democrats could lose on the substance of the shutdown battle, meaning they don't get what they're asking for here, and they cave and they agree to a continuing resolution to reopen the government, but without restoring those Obamacare subsidies. So they will lose, if you want to frame it that way, on the shutdown battle, but in the long run, they will be in a better position politically, because those people who are on the Obamacare exchanges will suffer as a result. Now, I understand how horrible that kind of sounds. I don't want people to suffer. I certainly don't want people who didn't vote for this to suffer. I'm going to be honest, I kind of want Trump supporters to suffer because they did this to us. They deserve to suffer the consequences. But people who didn't vote for this, who affirmatively voted against it, those people don't deserve to suffer, but they're going to suffer too. And honestly, the people who didn't even bother to vote at all, well, I don't give a shit if they suffer. Screw them. But what I do want is for the people of this country to wake up and to en masse oppose Donald Trump and these fascist Republicans. And if that means that one of the only ways, really, they need to experience the pain of this. They have to. Because right now, they don't think that they did anything wrong in voting for Donald Trump. And people need to wake the fuck up and oppose these people. Speaking strictly politically here, I think it's a mistake for them to have picked a battle on the Obamacare subsidies. I think we will be in a better position to save this country from these fascist MAGAs if the Obamacare subsidies go away, as Donald Trump and MAGA are trying to, as will happen unless they're restored. And you know what? The people who voted for this, that's what needs to happen to them in order for some of these people to wake up. I care about saving this country from fascism. I am not interested right now in saving MAGAs and the morons who voted for Trump or didn't even bother to vote for at all. I'm not interested in saving them from the consequences of their vote. I do feel bad for the people who didn't vote for this. But unfortunately, we have a very stupid population of people in this country. And many of them are not going to wake up until they experience the pain that is being inflicted upon them by Donald Trump and these fascist MAGAs. We should not be, in my opinion, trying to save them from the consequences. They need to experience the consequences. If it were up to me, and of course it's not, I'm just some guy in the woods. I get no vote here. I get no say. But if it were up to me, I would have made the fight on the fascist takeover of the government. I saw a tweet from David French. I want to give him the credit for this. Brilliant idea. He said that Democrats should tie reopening the government to amending the Insurrection Act. They should say, and I think there is good reason to change their position here. But anyways, he says that they should demand that the Insurrection Act be amended so that it is much more difficult, if not impossible, for Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy the military in cities and states against the will of the governor and the legislature and the mayors in those areas. The fight here is against fascism and authoritarianism. The fight here, the big fight in which we are engaged, is not over healthcare. Okay? It's authoritarianism. As important as healthcare is, that is not the most important battle here. Because think about this. Think about the Democratic position in this way. Given all the abuses, given ICE beating the shit out of American citizens and migrants in the streets, busting down people's doors, pulling them out of their houses in the middle of the night without warrants, zip tying children leaving them in the streets, throwing people, families in the back of moving vans in the middle of the night. This is Nazi Germany shit going on here in this country. Given all that's happening, what the Democratic position in this shutdown battle is to say, hey, just give us those Obamacare subsidies and we will continue funding your fascist authoritarian takeover of America. That's essentially what they're doing. Because that's what they're saying. Just give us Obamacare subsidies and we will fully fund all these government agencies and you can continue doing what you're doing. I'm sorry, but I think that's fucking crazy. We have a fascist authoritarian takeover of this country happening in real time right before our eyes. The battle is not fucking Obamacare subsidies. So as much as I don't want to see innocent people lose their health insurance or have their premiums skyrocket, what I want to see happen is for the Democrats to lose on the substance here, reopen the government. I mean, what I really want to see is the David French strategy employed. We should make this about authoritarianism and say we're not going to open the government until we amend the Insurrection Act and we put other measures in place to stop this from happening. That's what I want to see happen, but I know that's not going to happen. And if that's not going to happen, then what I would rather see is for the government to reopen, people lose their Obamacare subsidies, and then Democrats will be in the good political position to blame all of that on the people who deserve the blame. And that's Donald Trump and Republicans. So in that situation, they would lose the substance of the shutdown battle, but win in the long term on the politics. It sucks that we're in this situation, but this is where we are. And we need to be playing hardball politics, in my opinion. We shouldn't be acting like it's 1995. It's not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.